Hello and welcome to the Sabrina River Folk Podcast with me, Nicola Haasz. Tonight's guest is Lee Clatworthy, who grew up in and around Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire. Lee devoted his long career to Gloucestershire Fire Service, and when he retired, he went from full-time fireman to full-time pirate with his band Reivers Gallows. He joins me on the podcast this evening to tell us all about it. So, welcome to the podcast, Lee.
Hi.
If we could start with a little bit about your background. So where you were born, where you grew up, and your first encounters with the River Severn.
Yeah, so I was raised initially in my sort of primary school years. I lived out at Ashchurch. My dad had just got out of the army, finished at Ashchurch Army Camp, so that's why my sort of family originally sort of started in Tewkesbury. Didn't move to Tewkesbury town until secondary school age. So I was 10, 11 when I moved there, and immediately sort of fell in with a bad bunch of kids. And so we were jumping off of bridges and swimming in the bits of the river that you weren't supposed to. So that was my kind of first introduction to the river. And then as a teenager, I had kids quite young, and used to sort of take them to see the river, show them all the sort of places I'd found. Always been interested in canoeing, so done a lot of canoeing on the river. And then in my 20s, I joined the fire service, where I became a powerboat for rescue operator for Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue Service. And then as my career progressed, I did more and more development of that, and I ended up as the lead instructor for the fire service. So I was teaching people how to do rescues as well as carrying out the rescues as well. But yeah, lots and lots of little stories and adventures on the river. Always enjoyed it. Considering a narrow boat at the moment, which not necessarily on the Severn, but still staying on the water. So that might be our next move.
So your career really involved being on the river a lot of the time then, and going out on rescues. Was it mainly just on the River Severn? Did you kind of did that involve the estuary and out to sea as well, or just on the river itself?
Yeah, down to the estuary. So when you do your training, because you've got the estuary there, you have to do what they call a coastal endorsement on it, which means you go and take the rescue boat out to sea in huge waves, terrifying, and carry out the rescues there. Go up to Menai Straits and do training there as well, which is one of the fastest flowing bodies of water in Europe, with massive tidals, similar to the Severn, big tidal range on it. So yeah, lots of training up there as well. But yeah, I've done rescues from every single body of water in the county, I'd imagine, from lakes and ponds, the Avon, the Severn, the Wye, the Mono. I've done rescues from all of them, and Gloucestershire also have a flood unit, which Tewkesbury, obviously 2007 floods, which goes all over the country to help whenever there's a flood. So high volume pumping, so pumping people out, taking the boats and going, either rescuing people and getting them out of the houses, or if sometimes it's not getting them out, it's sometimes making sure they're safe in the house. If they're maybe disabled, it's probably easiest to leave them there and make sure they've got sufficient food and medication, set up a generator so they've got electricity, make sure they're warm, and looking after them in that way.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And gosh, that must have been quite a job. Do you think it was your growing up in Tewkesbury and perhaps being around a lot of the floodwaters and all of that maybe you ended up going into that line of work?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, as sort of a young teenager, I'll be honest, I did lots of stupid things on the river, sort of jumping off of bridges and going down weirs, and the salmon shoot on the other side of the Ham. I mean, that was every summer, bunch of mates, we'd all go and slide down that, and then later on, when I joined the fire service, I rescued several canoeists and sort of people that got in trouble doing exactly that. So kind of realising what a fool I'd been. Another point is that there's a lot of animal rescues as well. So, yeah, sort of particularly through the summer, the banks of the river get dry, and they'll collapse when a cow stands on them, or maybe even a sheep. So you'll be called to rescue a cow or a sheep out of a river. I've then rescued a Highland cow, with the big horns.
Wow.
When you're in an inflatable boat, it's quite worrying because you're trying to guide it to the shore, and it's waving its head all over the place and stuff. So you've got to be very careful there. I can tell you a story about we had to get a cow out of the river onto the Severn Ham at Tewkesbury from the far side where the weir and the salmon shoot is, and we've been there for ages, and we couldn't get this huge cow out the river. And so the chap in charge, he said, I know what, we'll get a length of our biggest hose and we'll put it around the back of the cow, because ropes just kept slipping off. We'll put it under its tail, and then we can all pull on this hose. And I was thinking, this don't sound like a very good idea to me. I think something might go wrong. So, okay, we have a go. And so we've got several of us on the ends of the hose at the top of the bank pulling this cow, and the chap whose idea it was, we got him to go behind it to push the cow. So hose, when you pull in it and there's no water in it, it lays flat. So it's about 75 millimeters of flat hose over this cow's bottom under its tail. And as we pull, the cow's straining, trying to assist us. I'll give you 3 guesses what the cow did when it strained.
Yeah, well, that's part and parcel of working with animals and stuff, isn't it? I mean, you hear so many stories with the River Severn. You will be particularly familiar with how dangerous a river it actually is, and how worthy of respect it is, in that sense.
Absolutely.
And I the same. Growing up, there's always stories of animals getting caught in it, and of course humans, losing their lives as well. And I expect you had to deal with some of that tragedy stuff as well.
Yeah. Sadly, I think the one that springs to mind is a young 7-year-old lad who'd come down to visit his auntie.
Oh dear.
And they all went swimming. It's near Frampton, actually. They all went swimming in the river, and the tide went out, and they didn't know where he'd gone. And then we searched. We did a 9-hour day shift, searched all the way through that, and then I came back. They'd searched the rest of the night, and I came back the following night because I was on night shifts then, and we searched that night as well. So he was a long time gone. And then in the morning of my night shift, we had a call to recover him because he'd finally surfaced. But yeah, poor lad, 7 years old. It's heartbreaking. It's seeing his mother, sort of hearing her grief.
Yeah,
it really sticks with you.
yeah, of course, yeah. And I think you're like everyone that grows up near the Severn, the first thing you're taught is to be extremely careful around the river, for this exact reason. Yeah. Yeah. And so are you still an active fireman? I mean, how many, how have you retired? Are you a full-time pirate now, or?
I am a full-time pirate now, yes. I retired in December last year.
Right.
I did 25 years of service.
Yeah.
I was really fortunate that I was able to join the fire service when it still had a 30-year pension scheme. About a week after I joined, they changed it to a 40-year pension scheme. So I would have had to work when I'm 65 otherwise.
Yeah.
So I retired last December, and still in contact with everybody. But now, like you said, being a full-time pirate, the music and the band's taken off like a rocket. So,
yeah, and of course, anybody that knows you will know you as as part of the band Reivers Gallows.
Yeah.
And so, There's a lot to be said about the kind of the folk music and the rich tradition of music along the Severn. You go
Yeah,
all the way up to Upton-on-Severn, and there is a lot of history around that, which I really enjoy hearing about. The Morris dancing, the Mary Lords, the all of this stuff
yeah,
is really part of what I wanted to capture. As part of the life of
yeah.
Sabrina, really. And do you think it was your upbringing in Tewkesbury that kind of inspired your fascination with the kind of pirate genre, do you think?
So the pirate thing, it comes from my mother. So,
Right.
so my mum, she's my mum and dad were the sort of creators of Tewkesbury Medieval Festival.
Okay.
And some other people, the sort of a group of friends got together, and 1984, I think it was, they created Tewkesbury Medieval Festival. And I used to sort of do little bits with that, but it never really grabbed me. But for a few years at the Lower Lode pub, they tried branching out into piracy. So they did a thing called Loads of Pirates, which wasn't as big and it never really carried on. But I really enjoyed it. So I was probably about 14 and just thought this is much more fun than the medieval stuff. Sort of boats with guns on and things like that, firing at each other. So as I've sort of grown up and the band's developed, we've sort of pushed it down the pirate route. And now it's surprising how many pirate festivals there are around the country and how many people attend it. Brixham's probably the largest, and that's about at any one time there's usually about 17,000 people there, with probably 40,000 people altogether visiting over the whole weekend. So it's a very big festival. And there's we're up to Whitby at the end of the month, Conway, all over the place. There's sort of a dozen or so across the country. So yeah,
Yeah,
good
so
fun.
I saw you at Fantasy Forest,
Okay.
which was, a festival close to my heart and a lot of
Yes.
people's hearts, obviously in Gloucestershire. Yeah, I mean, obviously, then, so you went the pirate route, which is absolutely brilliant. And I have seen things in the past around pirates on the Severn, and I think that there probably have been over time, like anywhere, some piracy going on.
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
know anything about that, Lee? Can you tell us any more?
Um, Not sure about the piracy, but I know there was smuggling going on.
Yeah, yeah,
So there were ships came up in the sort of 1700s with goods from France that should have been taxed, and they would land them at various places up at the Severn. And a lot of things came into the Forest of Dean because it was a bit of a no man's land, a bit wild. So things would go into the forest, and then from there be farmed out as if they were the real McCoy sort of thing, as if they'd been taxed. So there was a circuit where things came in up the Severn, cross into the Forest of Dean, and then into Gloucester, Cheltenham, and Bristol, and places like that from there. And
yeah,
obviously,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously Bristol is known for its sort of piracy with the Treasure Island film. Did you know that's why pirates famously have their accent that people always think that they have?
You can't escape the Bristolian pirate.
No,
Yeah.
but apparently when they made the film, all the extras they used were obviously, it was the original. I think it's 60s film was filmed in Bristol, and all the extras all spoke a bit like that because they're all from Bristol. So that's what stuck as a pirate accent. So now
Wow.
everyone that wants to be a pirate talks like they're from Bristol. So,
Brilliant. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love the pirate history of, the whole area really. And so are you based now still in Tewkesbury, or I think you're in the Forest of Dean on the other side now,
yes,
is that right?
yeah, I'm in Cinderford now, so
Right.
I enjoy both the Severn and the Wye for my water recreation. I do canoeing on the Wye, I don't canoe on the Severn. It's too dangerous for that. But I like to go and watch the bore, watch people surfing on the bore and things like that. So yeah, it's always good.
So was the band Reivers Gallows founded in the Forest of Dean, and when did it get, when did you all start out with each other?
Well, it's quite organic. I've been playing music for a long time, and originally the band I was in previously, we used to play at Tewkesbury Medieval Festival in a beer tent on the Friday night, just for the reenactors, not for the public. And it kind of grew out of that, really. We had lots of sort of members come and go, people changed, and about 6 or 7 years ago now, we got into this format that we've got, and it's never, I've never been so busy. We've got bookings into 2027. So yeah, prior to that, it would have been, Tewkesbury Medieval Festival and a couple of other small events. But now we're so we did the big stage at Fantasy Forest, well, the Dragon stage, which was quite good, and we've got, say, Whitby Pirate Festival at the end of the month, we're the only ticketed band there, and we've sold out. So there's no tickets left. So that's really good for us. We've never had this level of success before. So yeah, really good.
Where does the name Reivers Gallows come from then? What's the sort of history behind all that?
So Reivers were sort of on the Scottish borders. They were English and Scots families and clans that would raid across and steal things from each other, quite large scale. So it would be between 60 and 200 people would form like a small army, and sort of that bit of the world was a bit lawless for several decades, for quite a long time. And just reading into the history of it, we wanted a name for the band when we were doing some more generic history stuff. So we were playing at Tewkesbury Medieval Festival. We did some Civil War reenactment stuff and things like that. So we wanted something with a historical link, but a bit dark as well. So hence the gallows bit got added. Yeah, that's where it's come from. And because we've been successful with it, we thought we'll stick with it. We won't change it to anything more piratey than that. It will we'll keep it going as that. So yeah, very good.
Do you have any songs that are inspired by the River Severn or any of the kind of local area?
Yeah. So I'll tell you the story of the song first.
Sure.
I'm not sure. Do you know about Shakespeare's Boatyard?
No, I don't think I do.
So Shakespeare's boats, they were world famous. They made world speed record breaking boats. They were really, really top of their game, and they were based in Tewkesbury. Same company that makes Shakespeare fishing rods and other things, but the boat side of it's all gone now. And when I was a teenager, Shakespeare's Boatyard closed down and was derelict for years. And me and sort of friends used to go and sort of play in it and tear away sort of thing. And we'd been on a French exchange school trip, and when we were in France, we bought lots of bangers. So I lived in Tolsey Lane, which leads from Tewkesbury High Street down towards the river, past the old, what used to be the abandoned Shakespeare Boatyard. And we were all outside my house with my friends, setting fire to these bangers. And people quite rightly got a bit upset by it, and they reported us to the police. So the police come and had a chat with us, and so we had our bangers confiscated. And that night, Shakespeare's Boatyard burnt down. So of course the police came around the next day saying, right, we know what you've been doing. And they put 2 and 2 together and got 5, and they assumed it was me and my friends that had burnt the boatyard down, but it wasn't. It was just pure coincidence. I found out about 10 years ago that it was a local lad had quite a lot of problems. I don't know if he was trying to keep himself warm in there or not, but yeah, he'd done it, I think, by accident. But yeah, me and my little circle of friends got dragged down the police station and questioned quite severely about it. So I wrote a little this song long time ago. So might take a couple of attempts to get it right.
In the town where I grew till a young man, in the place where the old boatyard stood, between the bricks and the weeds and the rubble we grew, from children into manhood. There were those who should have known better, many who just didn't care. I was one of the few who tried to say no and did it just for the dare. Of the tramps and the vagrants that slept there, we don't know how many survived, but the bodies they found on that burnt-out waste ground meant at least 2 of them died. There were those who should have known better, many who just didn't care. I was one of the few who tried to say no and did it just for the dare. There were those who should have known better, many who just didn't care. I was one of the few who tried to say no and did it just for the dare. We stood in the road as the flames came up and the sky came tumbling in. The smell of flesh hung in the air, didn't hear a scream. No questions were made of the living, no answers were made for the dead. They just tore it all down, they levelled the ground, they built blocks of apartments instead. There were those who should have known better, many who just didn't care. I was one of the few who tried to say no and did it just for the dare. Yes, we did it just for the dare.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can really feel how your childhood has influenced that song.
Yeah. It's the song doesn't actually follow the story that I said quite, because I obviously didn't actually burn down the boatyard, but in the song I do.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Well, you know, there's a whole variety of songs that you perform.
Yes.
Some of them, I think, are they your own work, and some of them are other, are covers. Is that right?
It's a complete mixture of everything. So we've got some songs we've written ourselves. We've got some that are traditional songs, and what we've also done is we've taken some parts of traditional songs and added our own bit to them. So they're a mixture of our own work and traditional song as well. So, for instance, we do a drop of Nelson's blood, and we've weaved into it a story about some pirates are so evil they can't get into hell. And the chorus of it is, "We'll roll the old chariot along," which is from the Nelson's Blood song. So yeah, that's the sort of thing we like to do. Take something, make it our own, not just playing it differently, but add in different elements to it. All good fun.
Absolutely, yeah. And do you think that other people in the band, are they all from sort of Gloucestershire as well? Are they all influenced by the kind of the folk legends of the river and all of those things? Is it kind of a general theme of the band?
Yeah, we're all from Gloucestershire. So we've got myself and Chris is my wife. She plays fiddle. So she's pretty much been with me most of my life. We've been together for 37 years. So yeah, so she's had a lot of the experiences that I have, and she loves the water. In fact, she's the one who's really pushing to move on to a narrow boat.
Okay.
As a way, we'll be living on the water. And then we've got our bass player called Flog, who's from Tewkesbury born and bred, and he doesn't swim. That's his only thing. He does like all the sort of stories and the folk of the water, but he can't swim, so he is a little bit nervous around the water. We've done a couple of gigs on ships, so we've played on some proper pirate ships, and he's always a little bit nervous, and he gets upset when I tell him he's not allowed to wear water wings on the boat in the gig. But it's the way it is. And then we've got Bron, who is our other fiddle player. So we've got 2 fiddle players, and she is also from Tewkesbury and loves swimming and boating, canoeing, paddleboarding, all those sorts of things. She's the youngest member of the band, so she's the baby in the band. But yeah, she's a good soul and enjoys the water and sort of gets the spirit of it. And then we've got Phil, who's our cajon player, which is kind of drum, and he's from Cinderford. He loves the Forest of Dean. He's really keen on the forest, so he's probably a bit more of a Y-spirited person than a Severn-spirited person, I would say. But they're all good.
You can be both.
Yeah. We forgive him.
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously the Forest of Dean is an absolutely beautiful area, in its own right. And a lot of the research I do for the kind of historical worship of Sabrina, the goddess of the River Severn, there's a lot of evidence in the forest as well, at
Yes.
places like Lydney and Little Dean and other places along there. So it's hugely important, and also very beautiful, and so got its own sort of rich folklore just in the Forest of Dean, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could do a whole podcast on that, I think. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, would you say that you, it sounds like you're all complete water gypsies in the band, which is what I absolutely love. Do you get a sense of, I don't know if you feel a sort of spiritual connection with the Severn at all, or with Sabrina herself? Have you ever felt that?
Yeah. I mean, there's another song I wrote when I was first sort of learning to play, really, before I was in a band as such, and I just went over the Ham one evening and sat and watched the river and watched birds fly in, and sort of ducks and geese and swans and stuff, and fish jump in, summer evening, and sat there and watched the sun go down, watched the sunset, and then I fell asleep. And I woke up at about 4 a.m. It was sort of middle of the summer, so it was not cold at all, and watched it all sort of reverse itself, and the light coming back, and all the animals and stuff coming to life, and the ones that have been up going to bed and stuff, and just seeing all of that nature, just really inspirational. So I wrote a song about that.
She returned to me that night at twilight.
And do you have a favourite place on the Severn, Lee? Is there somewhere that's got a deep connection for you?
Yeah, there's a couple of places actually. Currently, where we live, if I walk about 100 yards down the road, I've got a complete view of the Severn from Stroud up past Gloucester, Cheltenham. It's huge. It's probably one of the best views in the county. If you've never seen it, go to Little Dean Hill Road in Cinderford and look at the view from there. There's a famous pipe there. If you look at Cinderford Pipe, which is a bit of a joke, but actually the view from that road where the Cinderford Pipe is absolutely stunning. It's really, really nice. But also the old oak forest. Can't remember the name of it now. Give me a minute. It'll come to me.
In Tewkesbury.
Yeah. Do you know it?
No, I can't. No, I can't think of it. I mean, I know Tewkesbury. Yeah.
If you just, my wife will know. I'll just go and ask Chris. Don't go away. Chris, what's the old oak foresty thing in Tewkesbury called? Yeah, Corks Hill.
Corks Hill, right? Okay.
Corks Hill, yeah. So that's it's an old. It was an oak forest hundreds of years ago. Most of them have died, but they're still petrified. So it leads down to the river where the Severn Loch is on the Ham. And yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of the world that you can just lose yourself in. So sort of ancient feeling with the old oaks there. Really, I think there's only sort of 4 or 5 of them that are actually still alive. There's probably about 20, just the bodies of them. But yeah, it's stunning.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so obviously the band is going from strength to strength. You've got gigs coming up, but
Yes.
what does the future hold? Where are you going with this? Or are you just kind of riding the wave of the kind of, the pirate scene at the moment and just going with the flow?
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult one because we all enjoy it so much. We don't want to spoil it. It's easy, I think, to go too far and for it to become a burden. So currently, most of the people that come to watch us we know by name. So we don't have fans; we have friends.
Yeah.
And we don't want to lose. We've all said we don't want to lose that. We really like that. We'll finish playing and then we'll go and sit down and have a beer in the wherever it is we're playing, and people will just come up and chat to us, not in a oh you're a star sort of thing, but just in a that was really good. What you've been up to, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I've not been very well. I've been quite ill for some time, and I'm on the mend, but unfortunately it's cancer. So it's always going to be there and lurking in the background. And I've had such good support off of everybody. It's
I did remember seeing your post on social media about this, and
and it's really humbling. So so I don't ever want to be a big star. I'd rather keep those friends that that supported me, and the people that came to see me when I was not well and things. So yeah, that's an important thing for us really, and everyone in the band is of the same mind.
And it's wonderful that you're able to continue to perform. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I hope you consider me in the future as one of those friends of the band, because I really wanted to get this podcast out. I really wanted to share your story, and I really have enjoyed seeing you at Fantasy Forest this year. And frankly, I'm hoping you'll be there next year.
Well, they have a rule there where you have to have a sabbatical every few years. So next year is our sabbatical year.
I
see. But it doesn't mean that we won't play there again. So there's other festivals. There's a festival at Caldicott Castle which we might go to, or there's Hastings Pirate Festival. So we'll probably do either one of those two. But yeah, fingers crossed we'll be back in 2027. So that's
Excellent. And I think it's really important that we have the Severn pirates, represent
yes.
of Gloucestershire. There's lots of pirates from all over the world, pirates of the Caribbean, but you're the pirates of the Severn, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, long may it continue. And maybe in the future you could write a song about Sabrina as well.
Okay. We'll see what we can do. Next album, all right? Next album we do, we'll have a song for you on there, all right?
That would be fabulous. Well, good luck with everything, and thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much for having me, and
You're very welcome.
We'll see you soon.
Many thanks to Lee for coming on the podcast. You can follow Reivers Gallows on all their socials and their website for future gigs and festivals.